Great to be chatting again with Michelle Wool's Andrew Partridge. How are you going this week, Andrew?
Good. Yourself, Ricky?
Excellent, thank you. We had a pretty good week last week in the wool markets. Not so bad this week either.
Yeah, pretty even sort of week, Ricky. We had most indicators have sort of gone up. Crossbreeds, also the broader merinos and some of the crossbreds were a little bit easier. Currency was sort of hanging around that 69, 70 cent mark. So, yeah, not a bad week. And the EMI in US terms up 10 cents, back over that $10 mark. And I like to see the $10 as a bit of an average of the market in US terms. That signifies there's a bit of demand about. So, yeah, pretty good week.
Yep, it's been pretty healthy. If you draw a line through that graph that you and I can see, the listeners can't. Yeah, you are sort of pretty steadily around that $10 or better mark for, the last year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is. It's sort of, when you go back in time and look at the graphs over history, that $10 mark is good. Usually if it's well above, it's indicating a bit of a spurt, and sometimes it's short-lived, and then it doesn't spend too much time below it either. So it is a market overall, obviously, but as most of the wool in Australia is traded in US dollars, it is a number you need to keep a bit of an eye on for sure.
Yeah, and I guess those finer microns, looking at across the charts across the nation as well, they trended better than maybe your medium and your crossbreds this week.
They're terrific, aren't they? Yeah, we're having a bit of a fine wool resurgence at the moment. They're all the talk, and these guys obviously, and some of those guys are specific wool growers. They can't do much other than grow fine wool in their country, but obviously some of those other breeds in South Australia particularly too, yeah, they do. You know, the weaner wool might be in those sort of microns, and they're enjoying sort of $3,000 a bale for those fine wools at the moment. And you look at the percentile rankings of the 17 micron indicator over the last 5 years, it's in the 90% band. So it's only been below where it is now, 10% of the last 5 years basically. So yeah, they're enjoying a bit of a boom at the moment, those guys, for sure.
Well, I was just putting something in the news bulletin about a fine for a farmer for flystrike sheep. It's probably a very odd reminder about maybe we should check in what's happening with non-mulesed wool.
It's again, yeah, it's gone to another level in the last 12 months or so. There's an accreditation called Responsible Wool Standard that's really got traction, and this we probably need more time to talk about it, Ricky. But basically, it's been reverse engineered from the retailers back to the wool grower. It's a platform that every person in the chain has to subscribe to. So it is a fully traceable system, and these premiums for non-mules wool that are responsibly wool accredited are enjoying huge premiums of that sort of $2 a kilo. Well worth the time to crutch your sheep and reduce that fly strike, but obviously body strike can be a bit of an issue this time of the year with a bit more moisture, and particularly in young sheep. And I hear there's a bit more fly strike even around this time of the year, which is generally a bit cooler with the flies disappear a bit, but I'm hearing a bit of fly strike even at the moment. So I suppose it's all that juice, and we're having a pretty good year over in those parts of Victoria.
Yeah, and I know Agriculture Victoria in particular talks a lot about this traceability, probably more reflective of being a Labor government rather than a coalition government. But as you say, there is a premium for it for those that want to engage in that side of the market.
Very arduous though too, Ricky. I must admit there's a lot of paperwork, and probably more paperwork than a lot of farmers have got time to do. So it's only for those true believers.
Yeah. Now, what about when it comes to the offering that's up for next week's auctions? We've seen some pretty healthy amounts put forward in the last probably 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, so with the prices the way they are, there's a bit of wool held on and coming back in. So there's a lot of crossbreds around still at the moment, which we thought traditionally would be dropping off annually, but those held stocks are coming through. We're looking at the sort of mid 45,000 bales on the roster. So usually we start dropping down. Probably the next couple of weeks we'll drop down under 40. Be interested to see whether we still maintain those 40 pluses in the next few weeks as we run down the season.
We speak also here for the Country Viewpoint program with Rabobank analysts from time to time, and they've indicated this concern that we've talked about regularly about China and logistics getting things in and out of China. They're saying, there's plenty of containers still waiting to get into China. Even this AWX comment this week indicates that there's international shipping concerns, and these might last for some time. To what extent is the market sort of pricing in those concerns about logistics?
Yeah, certainly with our lead times, and we might have touched this before, Ricky, in a non-COVID environment, we would take 2 to 4 weeks to get wool alongside ships and get them offshore. At the moment, just even domestically in Australia, we're allowing 8 weeks. So we buy the wool and we're holding it 8 weeks, up to 8 weeks now, which is certainly a big, it's a cash flow issue for our businesses back in Australia. And then, of course, when we get to China, we're getting redirected out of Shanghai a lot. Luckily, there's a couple other smaller ports that we can redirect wool to. So we're not sort of seeing too many delays from our sense going into China, but certainly back here in Australia with our transport system and getting wool alongside ships because of the lack of ships coming into Australia, the lag times are huge.
All right, something to keep tracking. Thanks again, Andrew Partridge from Michelle Wool. Always appreciate your wool report, and we'll catch you again next week.
Thanks, Ricky.